Alright, so this video is on how to stain a deck. Real quick, I want to preface this. This deck has already been prepped. Here it is before cleaning, and here it is after. So if you want to see how to do that, I've got another video on that. I will say the first part of this video, I'm kind of just yapping, but it did take me a lot of mistakes and a lot of time to learn what I'm sharing, and I think it'll save you a lot of headache if you watch it and listen, and so I think it's worth it. Without further ado, let's get into it. Today's video, I'm going to show you how we stain decks. Now we do a couple hundred decks a season usually, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to stain a deck. Now whether you're looking to do this DIY just for your own project, or you want to start offering it as a service, this is the best way I have found. Now it's interesting because it's pretty rare that a relatively cheap product and that's super easy to use is also the best, but that is what I've found in Wood Defender. Now, to be clear, I'm not sponsored, I have no affiliation, I don't even have affiliate links. So this is truly just, we've done over 100 decks, we've used a lot of different products, and we found out very quickly that we want to use quality oil-based stains, and I will show you why. So, literally to apply this, what you need is something to hold the stain and a brush, and also wear clothes that are going to get pretty filthy, but it really is that simple. And the reason for that is because what a penetrating oil-based stain will do is it will soak into the wood until the wood is fully saturated, and then the rest you can wipe off if you have excess, or it can sink in fully over time. But the difference between that and your typical film forming water-based products, even a lot of oil-based, is that it does not soak in, and so it dries on the surface. So what you'll have happen is it'll dry on the surface, and then let's say you get to this point and your wife calls you and something horrible is going on. Okay, you walk away for 3 minutes. Well, this section has now dried, and so when you go to keep going, this will look different because there will be a lap mark. And because of that, when you watch videos on how to stain or whatever, they seem relatively complicated, more complicated than we're showing here. And that is because it is more complicated because the product is just worse. Now, Wood Defender is not the only one you can use. There's also, we've used Ready Seal, which isn't bad. The only thing with Ready Seal is that it does not last super long. Now, it really is a true oil-based stain. It functions the same way that this does, but we've just found that, I don't know if it's a lack of pigment or what, it just doesn't last very long. Stain and Seal Experts also makes a penetrating oil-based stain, and we have used that. And a couple issues with them, or not necessarily them, but just that product, especially on decks, is that since their oil never dries, and Wood Defender has the same product on a fence, sometimes you'll have a customer walking on their deck and now all of a sudden they're tracking it in their house, and now you've got a problem. So Wood Defender created a special 200 series specifically made for decks, and so I don't know what they did, but somehow it fixed that problem. But now, as far as how long this will last, so they offer a 2-year warranty on it. Potentially it could look good up to 4 years. The thing is, you'll see some big box, Valspar, whatever, claim 15 years. I can't even tell you the amount of decks that I've been to that have started peeling and fading 1 year with that product or Behr. And so, I don't really know what they're doing there, but anyways, no matter what stain you choose, you're lucky to get about 3 years out of it where it's looking good. The main thing is, though, how easy is it to reapply this? So if I put a water-based stain on, and it, basically puts a film on here. Well, if I want to cover that and it's not a complete solid paint look, then it's going to look horrible because you're still going to see that second coat, which probably has lap marks too, and then, or that first coat, sorry, and then that second coat's going to look even worse. Okay, now you have a couple options. You can go with a very strong chemical and pressure wash it off. I have a video on how to do that. However, I would say that's pretty difficult and you're dealing with some pretty harsh chemicals. The other option would be to sand it, which works, but it takes about 3 times as long as you think it would. It probably takes, 5 times as long as it does to actually stain the deck.
To sand it?
Yeah. I mean, if not worse. Okay, so you could do that. But with a real oil, what you can do is you can just throw another coat on top because it's going to soak in, and then once it hits saturation, you're done. Now, there's at least one stain that I'm thinking of, which is Cabot, which is going to be in all your big box stores. And it's a hybrid, kind of. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I can tell you how it's used in practice, and that is that it puts a film on the surface. It's not a true oil. It definitely has oil in it, but it's got something in it that makes it lap and streak. And the thing, and maybe you don't even hate, that there's a streak or a lap somewhere. But what the real problem is when you go to reapply that, it's going to be sticky because it's sitting on top of whatever little coating they have on it. Same with Flood, which is a PPG product. We use their solids sometimes, their water-based solids, for fences that are just way too far gone. But it's the same thing. It's an oil-based stain, but it puts some sort of film on the surface, and so when you go to reapply it, it looks patchy and it looks sticky. So then you pretty much have the same problem. It's going to be a little easier to strip than water-based, but ideally you don't have to strip it unless you just want to go with a completely different color. So that's kind of the spill on all of that. I'll get some footage of us actually staining and I'll show you guys the finished result. Alright, so to demonstrate how it doesn't streak or lap, I'm going to apply right here. Now normally, traditionally, you'd want to go down the whole board, or else you would see a line here when you start over, right? You want to keep a wet edge. With a true penetrating oil, you actually don't have to do that. So I'm going to leave this camera here. I'm going to wait 5 minutes. I'm going to go, work on other stuff here. And then I'll come back and I'll show you the results and how it doesn't streak. Alright, so this has now had enough time to dry fully. It's a hot day. And so this is our line. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to set this up. And we will see if we can tell where I stop. Alright, it has now had time to dry fully, and you guys tell me. Now, with that being said, you don't necessarily want to test that all the time and, leave it for several days. Things can happen. Maybe you don't mix it as well the second time, and then you come back, the stain's a little bit different because the pigment isn't all the way mixed in. It looks a little different, right? So I would still, do your best to do a board at a time and blah, blah, blah. But the reality is things do happen, and when they do happen, you don't want to be punished with a horrible looking deck, right? And so with, a true penetrating oil-based stain, you're not going to have that problem. It gives you a little bit of cushion. And so that's why we use them, and that's why I'd recommend you use them as well. Alright, so combined between the two of us, it took an hour and 20 minutes, so about 2 hours, almost 3 man hours into it. And yeah, you can see, looks pretty good. There's no laps, there's no streaks. It's a nice consistent finish. Obviously you're gonna have some inconsistencies in the colors when you're going with a more natural color and still showing a lot of the grain. Like you can see here, a lot of that grain still showing. It is actually semi-transparent though, and so there is a decent amount of pigment, meaning it will last a good amount of time. But there you go, that's how you do it. A lot of it is in the prep and then choosing the right material. So make sure to check out my other videos for the prep, and see you in the next one.